Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today let's talk a little bit about trust. I've had trust issues my whole life. It's only gotten worse over the years, but I finally realized ways to be more trusting, and it's important to be able to trust. You know, it's kind of assumed that the most trusting people are the most naive. Maybe that's true, I don't know. There's kind of this attitude of toughness, this fake hard, tough guy shit that people think that you can't trust nobody and that you shouldn't trust nobody and that, and people wear that like a badge, like a patch on their vest. You know, I don't trust anyone. In fact, that's a motto of one of the bigger motorcycle clubs: trust no one. I've grown up with that, bombarded, that message just drilled into my head: never trust anyone, never trust anyone. That's weakness, and you'll never go anywhere. You have to be able to trust people. You have to. It's just the way life is. Having trust is a twofold process. You know, you can go into trust either being incredibly naive, like a child, and you can constantly get burned if you're like that. So that's why that's not a virtue. To be naive is not a virtue. It's not something to aspire to be naive, have that sort of childlike innocence. You need to be wise. You need to gain wisdom, and you gain that through experience. And a lot of us gain that through getting burned 2, 3, 4, 10 times, 40 times. I've had to learn lessons so many times in a row where you're just like, again? You know. But you finally learn, hopefully. And you can become jaded, and I know I have. I've become really jaded. Jaded with relationships. Get into a few bad relationships in a row, and you just really go in. It's like going on a date is like going on into like a gunfight. And you really can become overly worried because you don't want to get hurt again. And that hurt can feel so bad, so you want to guard yourself against it, go in with like a shield and a spear, trying to meet people. And that's no way to meet people. I've been burned in business so many times, whether it's out in the streets or legitimate business. And, you know, you have to learn from those lessons. And you need to be able to take a certain amount of risk and to have a certain amount of trust going into business. You know, I've become jaded in so many different areas over my life that it really just made me a negative person. And finally I realized that was my major weakness. This trust no one crap is incredible weakness. So being jaded from your experiences is not an advantage either. So, you know, what do? If you can't be naive and you can't be jaded, there's got to be some middle ground. How do you navigate that? How do you do it? It doesn't matter if you've become jaded like me. You have to know what trust is about and how to go into it. And it's a twofold process. So trusting people and having trust in general first starts with confidence. You got to have confidence in yourself. You have to be able to have confidence in your experiences. You have to have confidence in the fact that you can fall down and get back up, that whatever the scenario is, that you can handle this. You know, one of the ways that I know that I have confidence going into scenarios, because you can have confidence, you can look back on confidence, but to look forward on it is a little bit hard for some people. They just have to trust. Again, you know, you have to trust that it's in there, that you've built up yourself enough through personal development, you know, that when shit happens, that you can handle it. I know when I go into scenarios of trust, whether it's with relationships with people in any capacity, or any of the other various forms of trust that you can think of. Where because trusting mainly people can be a pretty hard thing. People can be kind of scandalous, you know. Everybody has their own motives. I've realized that every single person out there, every one of them, has a motive. Doesn't matter if it's your priest or the hustler on the corner. Everybody's got a motive. And not everybody's motive is evil, but evil exists within everybody. Selfishness exists within everybody, and people will step over each other in order to get theirs. Just look at these Black Friday shopping sprees at Walmart when they show them on TV. Those aren't necessarily evil people. Maybe some of them are, but that's just how people are. That's human nature. So you have to recognize that. And I have the confidence in myself that no matter how other people act, I can handle my own business. I can handle myself physically. I can handle myself mentally. I'm smart. I don't have to be flustered. I can choose to be calm. There's ways that you can practice this. Practice makes perfect. You build yourself up. So confidence is the key. You have to have courage because there's risk involved. So you have to be able to just take that leap with trust. There's always a certain amount of risk because you don't really know what's going to happen. Nobody can tell the future. So, and you don't really know who you're dealing with. You can try your best to do your background search, or you can try your best to get to know this person. Say you're getting into a love relationship with somebody, and you can get to know them. But how many times have you been burned? I've been burned by people where turns out they're not who they presented themselves. People can be on pretty good behavior for about 6 months. That's why you never want to get married to somebody before 6 months, because you want to get through all that good behavior to where you finally get to who they really are. And then that's who you're going to get to marry. That person you know in the first 6 months is just somebody, it's like somebody tensing a muscle, holding their breath. They can only do that for so long. So you have to be willing to take the risk, and you have to be able to have courage in order to do that. In order to be able to take risks and chances in life, you have to have courage. You have to be able to just take that leap and just do it and see what happens. And you have training, you have personal development and growth. You work on yourself daily, and you can sit there before you take that leap. It's like bungee jumping or parachute jump, jumping out of a plane with a parachute. They train you, but what happens once you take that leap is only for you and God to find out. So it takes a certain amount of risk, and you have to have courage to do that. It's good to be able to play within your lane when it comes to trust. Because if you're going to have risks involved, say whether it's in business or relationship, I personally would say for business, I don't take risks that are beyond where I'm willing to fall. And there's only so much you can trust people when, say, if you're going to go in on a business partnership or going on a project with somebody or do an investment with somebody, or even if it's taking out an ad in a magazine, which could cost $6,000 or $7,000 depending on the magazine, you're going to have to trust this relationship. I mean, you can only rely on contracts and lawyers so much. And I try not to get too deep into any one project or investment that's going to be beyond my ability. It's like if you think about it in a different way, like when you're gambling and you're at the poker table. Are you an all-in type of guy, or are you going to, know when to hold them, know when to fold them, and you're going to bet it incrementally? And, what's the most important thing to you? Just being the winner, or actually walking away with something, So you have to be able to navigate in different ways that are productive for you. If you're going into relationships with people and there's trust involved, sure, but like I said in the beginning, you don't want to be naive. You want to be able to do as much training in yourself, personal growth in yourself, which gives you the wisdom to be able to recognize the signs and signals that are being sent your way in order for you to be able to take the risks and chances that are necessary for you to proceed to the next level, because that's all it's about. It's to the next level. This whole life is just a process, and trust is a process also, and it's just a couple things that go into it. You got to have basically confidence, and you got to have courage. So there you go. It's just something to think about. We all have trust issues, maybe not all of us, but I know I certainly have. This is not a topic that I'm an expert on. This is just something that I'm currently, dealing with. And these are some of the ways that I learned to be trusting and to not hinder myself. Because if you allow yourself to not be trusting, to be distrustful, it's going to really, really stop you from being successful in life, successful in relationships, especially. Dealing with people is an important thing. If you're just some mountain man, what do you need? What do you care? You may have to trust bears or whatever you're dealing with, badgers, but most of us live in a society, and you have to deal with people. So trust is an important thing. You can't just go around with your shield and your spear. That's fear, and fear is not going to get you anywhere. Think about Jesus, and I'm not a heavy religious person trying to push religion in these videos or anything, but Jesus was a very interesting character as far as with the context of the book of the Bible, and he was a very trusting person. Jesus was not naive. He wasn't some idiot, skipping through life, stumbling through, getting in, in these bad scenarios or anything. He, according to the story, regardless of what would happen to this guy, he still had a certain amount of trust and love in his heart and was able to be open towards people, even if that person was somewhat scandalous. Jesus could still approach him and still break bread with them and whatever, because he knew you couldn't take anything from him. You can't get over on a guy like that. It's impossible. So it's just all food for thought of how to be. Thanks for watching.